Okay, so this video lecture is about our module number 7. So this is entitled Quarterly Income Tax for Corporations and Partnerships. So in our previous video lecture, we discussed about the annual income tax for corporations and partnerships. So this is now the quarterly filing. So in this module, we will be talking about the BIR form 1702Q, the documentary requirements and the procedures for filing. So for BIR form 1702Q, so this is the quarterly income tax return for corporation, partnerships, and other non-individual taxpayers. So this will be filed quarterly by every corporation, partnership, joint stock companies, joint accounts, associations, with the exception of the foreign corporation who are not engaged in trade or business in the Philippines, and joint venture or consortium formed for the purpose of undertaking construction projects or engaging in petroleum, coal, geothermal, and other energy operations. So they will have their own separate filing. So government-owned or controlled corporations and or agencies and instrumentalities will also use this BIR form for quarterly filing their income taxes. So the filing date is for quarterly income tax return. So this will be filed with or without payment, okay, 60 or within 60 days following the close of each of the first 3 quarters of the taxable year, whether calendar or fiscal. Okay, but in this case, I think this is, for example, for the first quarter. So the filing of this is April. Okay, this is within April. Okay, for the first quarter, or for every quarter, this a month, okay, after, okay, the third month within the quarter will be the filing date, okay, of the quarterly income tax return. Okay, actually this may also follow the schedule that we have also presented in the individual quarterly income tax filing. Okay, so this is what 1702Q looks like. So we have a form here of 3 pages. So this is the first page. Okay, so again, just like the other BIR forms, it will require you to fill out the necessary items, okay, or information. So of course, you will be choosing between calendar or fiscal depending on the accounting period that the entity is using, okay, for the year ended, for what quarter, if the return is amended or not, their alphanumeric tax code, okay, or if they are using the minimum corporate income tax, okay, for purposes of computing the tax due or payable later on. For the part 1, so this is the background information, okay, for the taxpayer. So actually this is like what our annual income tax return looks like. Okay. Part 2 is the total tax payable also, which resembles our annual income tax filing or BIR form. Okay. So we also have the details of the payment right here. And in page 2, so this is the schedule for those items which will be reflected in the first page. Okay. So schedule 2, declaration this quarter for regular or normal rate. Okay, for this part right here. And in schedule 3, if the corporation choose to use MCIT or minimum corporate income tax of 2% of their gross income instead of the regular rate. Okay, so Schedule 4 is for the tax credit or payments made, okay, that can be deducted for their income tax due or payable for the current quarter. Okay, so this is the third page. So basically this reflects the description, okay, the tax rate and the tax base to be used. This will also guide, okay, the preparers of the BIR form. Okay, so that's for our BIR form 1702Q. Okay, so we go now to the documentary requirements. So actually for quarterly income tax returns, we only have 3 requirements. So the first one is our BIR form 2307, or this is also known as Certificate of Creditable Tax Withheld at Source, if that is applicable. Second is the duly approved tax debit memo. Okay, so this will also be attached if this is applicable for the corporations or partnership. Third is the previously filed return, especially if there is amendment in the return, and this is filed also for the same quarter. Okay, so these are just the 3 documentary requirements for the quarterly income tax filing for the corporations and partnerships. So we go now to the procedures. Actually, the procedures we have right here is just the same with the previous procedures for other taxpayers. Okay, although the forms here, that's the only thing that differs. Okay, so for EFPS filer, so here they will be filling out the BIR form number 1702Q. Okay, they will pay electronically and then receive payment confirmation from EFPS authorized agent banks, okay, that they have successfully filed and paid for their income taxes. For non-EPS filers, they will be filling out the applicable fields in the BIR form 1702Q, and then they would download it and fill out the applicable fields. They will print it, okay, and then they will proceed with the authorized agent bank or to the revenue district officer, okay, and they will submit this BIR form 1702Q together with the other attachments or requirements, okay, and the payment. So in places where there are no authorized agent banks, so the taxpayer can proceed to the revenue collection officer or duly authorized city or municipal treasurer, okay, or here they can submit their accomplished BIR form 1702Q together with the required attachments and the payment, and then they will receive the copy of the duly stamped and validated tax return and the prescribed deposit slip from the teller of the authorized agent banks or electronic revenue office or official receipt from the revenue collection officer or authorized city or municipal treasurer. And for those manual filer, so here they will be getting the hard copy of the BIR form 1702Q in 3 copies. Fill this up and they will proceed to the revenue district office, and they will present this duly accomplished BIR form 1702Q together with the other attachment, and they will pay also, okay, the corresponding income tax due or payable, and then they will be receiving the copy of their duly stamped and validated form from the RDO. So this will be a proof that they have successfully filed and paid for their quarterly income tax, okay, returns. So for the filing date, again, for corporate quarterly declaration or quarterly income tax return, on or before the 60th day following the close of each of the quarters of the taxable year. So again, for the first quarter, it's within April. For the second quarter, that's May, June, July. Okay, and then in the third quarter, in November, third quarter starts with July, August, September, in October. Okay, so within October. And in the fourth quarter, they will be filing just like the annual income tax return. That's on or before April 15th, okay, of the next year, close to the taxable or close to the current taxable year. Okay, so those are for our quarterly declaration or filing of the income tax returns for corporation and partnership. And please take note also that in this case, when filing on the annual ITR for corporations and partnerships, they will just consolidate the first 3 quarters and then add the fourth quarter income tax. Okay, actually in annual filing, it's like filing for the whole year, just like what we have in our previous module. Okay, but in this case, they are actually required to file for every quarter, okay, if they choose to. Okay, so that's for our module number 7.